There's something your dog does almost every night. You've probably walked past it 100 times without thinking twice. Maybe you've stepped over them in the dark. Maybe you've even wondered, in passing, if they'd be more comfortable somewhere else, on the couch, or curled up at the foot of your bed. But they always go back. Right there. Near the door. And most people assume it's just habit. Or maybe the dog gets too warm. Or it's just where they happen to fall asleep one night, and it's stuck. What if it's something else entirely? What if that spot, that exact, specific place your dog has chosen, night after night, is one of the most revealing things they've ever done without saying a word? This video is about what that behavior actually means. Not just the surface explanation, but the layers underneath it. The instinct, the attachment, the quiet kind of communication that dogs have been practicing for thousands of years, and that most owners never fully see. By the end, you might look at that familiar shape in the doorway completely differently. Let's start with what's actually happening in your dog's mind when they choose where to sleep. Dogs are not random about rest. Even if it seems that way, even if your dog flops down wherever the mood takes them during the day, nighttime is different. Nighttime is when the old instincts surface more clearly. In the wild, where a dog's ancestors chose to sleep was a life or death decision. You didn't lie down in the middle of an open field. You found a position with visibility, a place where you could see what was coming, hear what you couldn't see, and respond before a threat became a problem. That instinct hasn't been erased by generations of living indoors. It's quieter now. It doesn't look like survival behavior from the outside. But it's still there, shaping choices your dog makes every single night. A door is, in almost every way, the ideal position by those old standards. It's a threshold, a point of entry. The one place in a home where the outside world makes contact with the inside. And your dog knows that. Now here's where it gets more personal and more interesting. Because dogs don't just sleep near doors for defensive reasons. The full picture is far more layered than that. Think about who is in that room on the other side of the door, or who lives in the rooms just beyond it. For most dogs sleeping in or near a bedroom doorway, the answer is you. Researchers who study dog attachment, and there's a growing body of work on this, have found that dogs form emotional bonds with their human caregivers that closely mirror the attachment patterns seen in young children. Not as a metaphor, as an actual parallel structure in how they relate to the people they live with. One of the hallmarks of secure attachment is what's called proximity seeking. A securely attached individual, child or dog, wants to remain close to the person they trust. Not because they're anxious, necessarily, but because closeness feels correct. It feels safe in the deepest possible sense. When your dog positions themselves at the doorway of your bedroom, they are staying as close as they can to you while still having a view of what's happening beyond. They're not just guarding the room in some abstract way. They are near you. That part is deliberate. But let's talk about the dogs who don't sleep in the bedroom at all and still find a door. Maybe your dog sleeps at the base of the stairs, or in the hallway, or right in front of the front door, even when you're home. This is where it gets fascinating, because the door itself is doing something specific in your dog's world. Dogs navigate space using scent in a way we can barely imagine. The human nose has roughly 6 million scent receptors. Dogs have up to 300 million. The world they live in is made primarily of smell, not sight. And doors are information-rich. Even a closed door leaks scent. Air moves differently near thresholds. The outside world announces itself at every door in a house, in ways you and I will never directly experience. When your dog lies near the front door, they are not waiting in any anxious sense, at least. Not necessarily. Often, they are simply positioned at the place in the house where the most information arrives. They know when someone is approaching the house before anyone knocks. They know when the air outside has shifted. They know when something has changed. Lying near the door is, in a sense, lying at the window of their world. It's how they stay connected to what's happening, even from a resting position. There's one behavior pattern that almost every dog owner recognizes, but very few have fully thought about. Your dog follows you from room to room during the day. They get up when you get up. They settle when you settle. And when you go behind a closed door, the bathroom, a home office, anywhere that blocks their access, many dogs will lie right outside it and simply wait. This is often described as clinginess, or called separation anxiety in its lighter form. But for most dogs, it's something different. Something quieter. Dogs are deeply routine-based animals. Their sense of security is tied not just to your presence, but to the predictability of your presence. They are constantly building and updating a mental model of where you are, what you're doing, and when you'll return. Lying near the door where you disappeared is one way of holding onto that model. Keeping a sense of continuity. Staying within range of your sounds, your scent, the particular way your footsteps sound on the other side. And when you open that door and return, even if you were gone for 4 minutes, watch your dog's body. Often there's a small, clear exhale, a shift in posture, like something that was slightly coiled has released. That's not dramatics. That's a nervous system resettling. It's brief and easy to miss, but it's real. Now, here's something that often surprises people. Not all door sleeping is calm. And the difference matters. There's a version of this behavior that is genuinely restful. The dog who lies near the door with their body loose, their breathing easy, maybe rolling onto their side or back, this dog is comfortable. They've chosen this spot because it works for them, and they feel settled in it. Then there's another version. The dog who lies near the door with their head up, their gaze fixed, their body still in a very different kind of way, alert, not resting. The dog who gets up every time a sound travels through the wall. The dog who can't quite settle no matter what. Both dogs are near the door. But what's happening inside them is not the same. The first dog has found their position. The second dog may be carrying more than you realize. Some low-level uncertainty, some unresolved restlessness that hasn't found a place to land. This isn't cause for alarm. But it's worth noticing. If your dog seems to be guarding more than resting, some additional structure in their day, more predictable routines, clear settling cues before sleep, more physical exercise in the hours before bed, can often shift that pattern significantly over time. The behavior looks similar on the outside. What it means is quite different. Let's talk about something that doesn't come up often enough in conversations about dog behavior: the role of emotional regulation. Dogs co-regulate with the humans they're bonded to. Meaning, your calm affects their calm. Your stress affects their stress. This is not projection or anthropomorphism. It's measurable. Studies tracking cortisol levels in both dogs and their owners have found that these levels synchronize over time in long-term relationships. The dog and the human tend to move through the same emotional weather together. And this has implications for where dogs choose to rest. When you are settled, when you're in bed, breathing slowly, the lights low and the house quiet, your dog feels that. The environment changes. And for many dogs, being in close proximity to that settled version of you is genuinely regulating. It helps them come down too. A doorway, then, is a kind of perfect compromise. Close enough to feel the ambient calm of wherever you are. Still positioned to hold a sense of the larger environment. Their body gets to choose how to balance those two things in real time. It's a small form of negotiation. And they make it every night. Here's something worth sitting with. We tend to think of where a dog sleeps as a minor detail. Background scenery in the life of a household. The dog ends up somewhere, and that's where the dog is. But dogs are communicating constantly through choice, through repetition, through the small, reliable patterns of where they position themselves and how. Where a dog chooses to rest, especially where they choose to rest night after night, in the same spot, in the same way, is data. It's a picture of how they experience the space around them, who they're connected to, what they're tracking, what they need to feel settled. A dog who has always slept by the bedroom door and suddenly begins sleeping in a different room, or in a more hidden spot, or in an unusually guarded way, that shift is worth noticing. Not with alarm, but with attention. Sometimes it reflects a change in their physical comfort. Sometimes it reflects a change in something they've felt but can't tell you. Behavioral changes are often the earliest and quietest signal that something has shifted in a dog's world. They rarely announce it directly. They just start making different choices. There's a particular moment that many dog owners describe without fully knowing what it means. You come home after a long day. You open the door. And your dog, wherever they've been, however deeply they were resting, is already there. Right at the door. As if they knew. Many owners assume the dog heard the car. Or heard the elevator. And sometimes that's true. But research into how dogs anticipate owner returns suggests something more interesting. Dogs appear to use scent concentration as a kind of clock. As the day progresses and the scent of the person who left grows fainter, the dog adjusts their behavior accordingly, becoming more alert as the time for return approaches. They're not waiting randomly. They're timing it, building a sense of when the world will change again. And the door is where that change will arrive. So when your dog is already there, looking up at you as you walk in, it's not just a greeting. It's the end of a calculation they've been running all day, one that concluded, correctly, with you. If you've watched this far, you're probably someone who pays attention to your dog in ways that matter. Here's what I'd invite you to notice this week. Watch where your dog actually settles at night. Is it always the same spot? Is it near a threshold? Is their body loose when they get there? Or do they seem to be monitoring? Notice whether they position themselves between you and the door, or between the door and the rest of the house. Some dogs consistently place themselves in a position where they can see both, you and the exit. That spatial awareness is intentional, even if it looks casual. And next time you leave a room and come back, watch for that small shift. That subtle resettling that happens in your dog's body when you return. Most people have seen it 1,000 times and never quite registered what it was. It's one of the quieter ways a dog tells you they were aware of you the whole time you were gone. Dogs are not complicated in the way we sometimes make them. They're not mysterious or unknowable. But they do communicate differently than we do, through position, through pattern, through the small repeated choices that most of us walk past every day. The spot near the door is not accidental. It never really was. It's where your dog decided to be. Where they balance instinct and attachment, alertness and rest, the world outside and the person inside. Where they stay close to you in the way that makes sense to them. That's not a small thing. That's a dog who has found their place in your life and keeps returning to it every night because it's where they belong. If your dog has a particular spot they always return to, near a door, at the top of the stairs, beside your bed, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. It's one of those things that feels ordinary until you start to see it clearly. And if this kind of video helps you understand your dog a little better, consider subscribing. That's really what this channel is for, not training tips or quick fixes, but a closer look at what's actually happening in the mind of the dog you already know. Take care of them. They're paying more attention than you realize.